All right, so Eddie, so you're showing me you want two things out of this session. One, some feedback on your design, and two,
Yes.
some Rhino help. Is that right?
Right.
All right, go right ahead and show me your design.
So the first of all, I'm showing the floor plans of this. So my design idea is to having four independent buildings. First of all, the site is at Maxine Beach, Cambridge, and we are putting a cultural center or a recreation center on the site. We can put our building into any of the location in the park. Um, the idea of mine is that to invite people in four different directions and having four independent buildings, which is is a two-story building. The people at access with the middle, the curve, a ramp to the second floor, and having a double-sided facade system, uh, which allows to have views and sunlight. And this is the floor plan, just kind of to show the idea of how my program goes, and then how they access through the middle ramp to the second floor. I'm having a problem because by putting this ramp, I would like to make the ramp like blended into my design, rather than have this independently. So I was wondering what would be the best way to blend these kind of stairs to my second floor platform in the building, because I have thinking this, but I haven't found the like the efficient way to do it. So I'm a bit stuck on that.
So one thing, real quick,
Yeah.
although I understand what you're trying to do, I want to tell you that you technically do not have four independent buildings. They're not four different buildings. They're essentially one building, all of them. It's just one building that's spliced like a pie into four different pieces, but it's not four independent buildings, and probably you don't want it to be four independent buildings because that means, again, this is the architect talking. There's a lot of requirements for each one of those buildings, and if they were separate buildings and there's some distances and fire separations, I mean, there's a lot of requirements that in reality will have to be met for this to be four independent buildings. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And just the fact that you have this core means of egress element that, by the way, is only one means of egress that you have right now. At minimum, you should have more, but that main one, and then you have one at the upper right, um, and then another one at the upper left. It's a little weird, but this core element connecting the buildings or the floors, it's making it more so like it is one single building split into four different pieces of pie. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Now that's not your problem right now. The problem is that you're trying to figure out how to incorporate that core in a way that is cohesive with the four volumes that you have, right?
Right. Yeah, I can show my random model very quick. So
By the way, just say there are how many floors?
two floor.
Okay, so
So
that's it. Okay,
first
this
floor,
is
second.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, so this is the shape because I'm currently doing the structures for the building, which I can see here, like having this kind of ramp goes to the second floor platform here, but I think it doesn't really, blend it into the design because only this two ways goes to this building, but like this two allows the connection of the middle, the ramp. And overall, I'm having shape like this one, like a curved shape. So I'm just wondering, like, how what will be the best way, or any suggestions that I can make to getting this ramp to this for program.
Hmm. You have a bit of a paradigm here because one, I don't even think your ramp is to code for accessibility. Um, it would be a very, very long ramp if it was to be accessible. And this building, as I see it, needs to be accessible by code. So it will have to be 1 and 12, which means that every 12, every 1 inch of riser that you go up, you gotta go 12 inches in length. And then at 12 feet, you gotta have I think it's a, yeah, every 30 feet or so of ramp, you have to have a landing. Um, so that's concerning. I mean, now I'm talking too much reality on a, what is this? The thesis project, the final project?
No, Studio 4. So
Okay.
the
You have
last
one
Studio
more,
4
you have
was,
one more left, right? After
yeah,
this. Yeah.
one more.
But again, it's a studio, so but you should think about that. The ramp will have to be ginormous if you really wanted it to be a real ramp. It will have to be very, very big. Um, so that's a problem. That kind of kills everything because it would have to be huge. You know what I mean, right, Eddie?
Right. Yes, 112. Yes.
Mm-hmm. No,
Hmm.
now that said, you have to make a decision. Do you want this to be? How would you justify not being accessible? How how if you would try to make it accessible, how would it work? It will complicate
Yeah.
things even more because if you're having a hard time with this kind of dummy sweep that you did from one floor to the other, right? Some sort of loft or sweep that you did on a rail that goes up to the floor.
Right.
Imagine if you had to make it a code.
You're right. And then yeah, because I want to create access in the middle, which it makes a connection, to the floor. Um, I don't know. I was stuck on this. So
Hmm. Um, I don't know an answer, and that's not what the answer that you want from me. But I don't know. By the way, I hear myself. Maybe there's echo. But I don't know how, because the ramp is really big and the width of it is really big, so you don't have a lot of space, to like still walk through each side. So essentially, you're literally segregated these buildings from each other with this ramp in the middle. You've not been able to connect them.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I looked at many different projects, but I haven't, I was stuck because I wasn't able to find a way to connecting the second floor.
And I was thinking
So
about a couple of projects that use ramps successfully. Um, um, I would say the Guggenheim in New York is essentially a ramp that goes all around and goes up and guides people through the Guggenheim by Frank Lloyd Wright. Then the Carpenter Center for at Harvard has this sort of ramp that connects the building. That's not that great, but it's an idea. And then Oscar Niemeyer's has another building that has a ramp that as soon as you walk through, it guides you through the entire building. It looks like a spaceship building. It's like red and bold. So those projects have generally successful ramps, different scenarios, but worth looking at them. I would say that it's worth looking at them. Um, uh,
yeah, would you able to send the name through
yeah,
to
yeah,
me through? Okay.
yeah, Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why yeah, I get and yeah, I want to get help because really I was stuck on this.
So that's a link of one of them I just sent to you.
Okay, I'll take a look on that. Hmm. Oh yeah, the carbon center. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you have the Carpenter Center? Yeah.
Yeah, I knew this building. I think it's designed by Le Corbusier.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. It's the only one for Harvard, I think.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, actually, I went to this building. So
Which one? The Carpenter Center?
yeah, the company. Yeah, I have been to the actual building.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So I mentioned that other one right there, which is the Guggenheim, and I think it's essentially a big ramp, but the building is a ramp. You know, it's not, it's like the building is done in a way that's a big ramp going around and around and around a 1 and 12.
Um, okay. Yeah, is that means like, for example, if our access point here, maybe there's a ramp like goes here and it goes around to inside, maybe.
Couple things. Yeah, I get that. That might work. But I am concerned that you're also using the wrong model to do this because the structure will follow the shape. So at the end of the day, your structure will follow the shape of your building somehow. So the thing that takes precedence is one, your concept, then the shape that's being represented by such concept, and then how that ramp follows the concept of how these buildings are put together. So I would want you to play better with the massing of the buildings with the ramp than with the structure, and make sure you have proper heights. The only really good thing about this is the simplicity of it here, but and also the other good thing is the floor to floor heights that you're trying to use, because this is very simple to look at it. But I think you should probably play even with floor plates that show you shapes, like floor plates that show you shapes, so that you can play with it and how you want it, you know.
Yep. I'll look into it to kind of messy. Yeah, because yeah, I'm really stuck in on the idea. Um, yeah, I mean this is the very simple messing, but
Yeah, if you have correct heights and try to do a 1 and 12 accessible ramp, it has to be accessible for 1,000 reasons. It is the main element on that ramp, like on that building, is that ramp, and it's the most welcoming element that you will have that connects everything. So if it's not accessible, you will have problems because you need to provide 60% of all access to the building need to be accessible. So at the very least, so um, we're gonna have to figure out that. Now, you want to tie them all together, but the way that you split the building into these four like floating petals on a pond, it's it's difficult because they want basically these little petals want to split away from each other, right? They feel like they want to split away from each other,
right,
right?
because I have four different access and then inviting people into the middle and access to the building.
Yeah, it's really like a pond and there's some flowers petals floating on it and they just want to split. So and then you want to do something in the middle that will try to connect them together. Think of it in a different way. Think of it as that water volume that's in the middle split, how that water can hug the entire volumes and be that ramp, not like this little connecting element in the middle that you just like as an afterthought that you created, you know.
Okay. Yes.
So that would be a playful way of solving the problem, and it will also give you more room because you need more room. You can't just do it. You know what I mean? It needs more room. You know the way you do it there, it looks a lot like the parking garage. You know, like Logan parking garage, volume, but it's not a parking garage.
Right.
It's not
I
for cars that you could go at any pretty much any slope, you know.
oh the Guggenheim. Yes, the Guggenheim Museum. I know this one too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna show you the
Yeah.
I don't see the parking garage thing. I was trying to show you that, but
Yeah. Somehow I just forgot the Guggenheim Museum because
well, that's why you're talking to me.
I literally forgot this building as a perfect example because
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Now, you know, that's a lot of thinking on your end, and this is recorded, so I'll share this video with you. But I could talk to you about any Rhino problems you may have now, more than design problems. Or I could tell you how to solve problems I see that are just not even design, like not even design driven, but like Rhino problems. You
Uh-huh.
know, like I think your curves, you want them to be a little more smooth, like this little kink that you see. I don't know if I can point.
Right. And this is the first question for the Rhino. How do you make like a smooth curve in Rhino?
Beautiful.
Because yeah, this is the first question I was gonna ask after
Okay,
this.
so let me just pause this video here because this is part one. We focus on the design.
Right.
Now part two, we're gonna focus on Rhino.